There is one skill that determines how successful you will be in life. It's not your intelligence, it's not your work ethic, it's not even your discipline. And not only am I going to reveal this skill to you, at the very end of this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to overcome the barrier that stands in the way of you maintaining this skill. The skill that you are missing is your willingness to feel any emotion. And I know that that might sound like it's not the thing, but I promise you that it is. Because this skill or lack of this skill connects to everything: your habits, your follow through, your weight, your relationships, your goals, and how you're showing up on a daily basis. Unfortunately, I will say most people think that emotional strength, emotional capacity, emotional intelligence looks like positive thinking, pushing through, and ignoring how you feel. But that's not emotional strength, and it actually causes you so much more suffering by doing those actions. Okay, so when I say the term emotional strength, what I'm talking about is being willing to feel any emotion. And remember, feeling emotion is different than acting out of that emotion or buffering from that emotion. And it's definitely not avoiding the emotion. Now, if you're wondering, well, yeah, feeling your feelings doesn't seem like it would be that hard. You got to remember that you have a lower brain, and that primal primitive brain wants to avoid negative emotions. It wants to avoid pain, and it can't decipher between what is real and what is felt. It just knows that anytime that you feel a negative emotion, it wants you to escape from it. And if you remember, one of the other functions of the lower brain is to seek pleasure all of the time. And so anytime a negative emotion is registered in your body, your brain is already offering you an escape from it, right? And the quickest way that it wants to escape is to have a rush of dopamine. And the way that we've trained our brain to get dopamine is from doing things like overeating, right? So suddenly you'll get an urge to go eat something. You'll grab your phone to go scroll. You might start shopping, scrolling your phone on Amazon, looking for something to quickly buy. If you think about it, even just the past few hours, when have you grabbed your phone and mindlessly started scrolling? I mean, how often are you doing that on a day-to-day basis? My guess is that every time that you are doing that, you are probably feeling a negative emotion, and your automatic habit is to just grab your phone and go do something to distract yourself from it. That is called buffering. And if you remember, what is the big deal about feeling a negative emotion? Most people haven't given themselves the evidence that an emotion is completely harmless to feel. And I'm talking about all of the negative emotions: sadness, fear, anxiousness, overwhelm, shame, guilt, regret, humiliation even. All of those emotions, they are actually harmless. Let's take a super simple example. Let's say that you snapped at your kid, okay? You reacted in a way that you wish you wouldn't have. Maybe you said something a little harsher than you needed to. Maybe you chose words that you wouldn't want to use. Okay, immediately after you take that action, there's an emotion there inside of you. Maybe it's guilt, regret, or shame. And instead of feeling that, you grab the remote, you grab your phone, you might go grab a drink. You distract because your brain is like, nope, we're not staying here. Your brain is responding on autopilot, even though that emotion is completely harmless. If you were to just sit there for the 30 seconds to the maybe 2 or 3 minutes that emotion was inside of you, and you gave yourself the evidence of, I can sit with this and feel it, that emotion would move through you. It would release, but instead we avoid it. And then usually what happens next is we do something even worse. We go into self-blame, right? And what self-blame is, if you haven't yet watched this episode on blame, self-blame, and self-responsibility, self-blame sounds like, I'm such a terrible parent. I'm not consistent. I can't change. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep responding this way? And now we've layered a bunch of thoughts on top of that emotion. We've made our actions mean that we are terrible. So instead of just allowing that initial emotion, processing it, feeling it, and then intentionally afterwards deciding how to show up next, we give into our old patterns. And this is why people stay stuck. This is why you are stuck. And it's the same thing for my overeating clients. The reason why they're overeating is because they're not willing to feel their emotions. And I love how my coach, Brooke Castillo, she says, you don't have an overeating problem, you have an underfeeling problem, meaning you haven't built up the tolerance to feel emotions. That's why you're going to food. And the more that you avoid emotions, the smaller your life becomes, because anything meaningful, anything that you actually want is going to require you to feel something that is uncomfortable. Your future has all of these emotions in it And I'm talking about the future that you want. If you're not willing to feel those things, those emotions, you will stay exactly where you are. And how we know that's true is that you will procrastinate building the life that you actually want. Some people will come up with excuses with why they are still at the same place that they were at last year or 5 or 10 years ago. They'll blame a bunch of things around them as to why they don't have what they want. But most of the time, the truth of the matter is that they just aren't willing to feel discomfort on the journey there. At some point, they felt the discomfort and they turned back, they reverted back to what is safe, what is predictable, even if what is safe and predictable doesn't actually feel good. For the person who's 50 pounds overweight, it feels way worse having the result of being unhealthy, being sore, having low energy. But on the path of what they want to become normal eaters, they're going to have to feel urges. They're going to have to feel the discomfort of emotions. So I want to ask you something, and it might be a little uncomfortable to answer truthfully, but I want you to answer truthfully. 5 years ago, what did you want for your life? And then just do a quick audit and ask yourself, what have you created in the past 5 years? 5 years ago, did you want to become the normal eater and be at your goal weight and have maintained it? And then answer, are you still at the same weight? Do you still feel disconnected in your relationships? Are you still in the job or the position that you don't like? Are you still at the pay level in your career that you were 5 years ago? And it's important to look at this because it's not that you didn't want it bad enough. It's that there were emotions that were required to get you there. And those emotions you were not willing to feel, and you did not have the skill to know and understand that you are safe to feel them. My coach says something else that I love. She says that discomfort is the currency towards your dreams. So what is currency? It's the price that you pay. The price of the life that you want is emotional discomfort. And if you are not willing to feel, you will stay in the exact same place in your life. Now, let's talk about feeling feelings for a second. Hey, quick interruption to the episode. I created something for you. It's a guide called The Identity Gap and a short mini training called The Disciplined Mind. I take you through a guided exercise in this training that will help you close the gap from where you are and how you're showing up today to how you would like to show up in the future. This is going to help you understand your patterns better, but more importantly, it's going to help you start changing them in real time. You can grab it in the description or the show notes. All right. Back to the episode. When you feel a negative emotion, let's say fear, frustration, doubt, anxiousness, stress, what's happening is that your body is activating your sympathetic nervous system. I've talked about higher brain and lower brain. So this is part of that lower brain, your fight or flight response. Okay. And when you feel these emotions, your brain registers this is dangerous. And on a physiological level, what's happening inside of your body is that your cortisol raises, your heart rate rises, and your body prepares to react, even though there's no actual physical danger present. And so if you're new to this type of work and you're like, okay, I got it. I want to start feeling my feelings, Jaycee. I'm going to work on that today. One of the very first things that you can start doing is to simply name the emotion that you're feeling. This is fear. This is restlessness. This is boredom. This is anxiety. This is stress. When you do that, you start to regulate the nervous system. The parasympathetic system in your body starts to activate. This is the rest and regulate state. And this is the part of your brain that turns on is the prefrontal cortex. This is where the higher thinking comes from. The part of your brain that can think, okay, wait, if I go and eat those cookies right now because I'm feeling stress, I'm not going to enjoy how I'm feeling in 1 hour from now. This does not get me closer to my goal of being a normal eater. Okay. We can't operate from that higher brain when we are operating primarily from the lower brain. So labeling your emotions can be a very powerful first step for you that can get you into that fight or flight response, into the regulating your nervous system and making a better decision, making a choice and creating space between you and that initial emotion that you're feeling. And so I want to bring this back to you. If there's something that is in your life right now that you want, but you're not going after, I can almost guarantee that there's an emotion there that you aren't willing to feel. You have not yet built up the tolerance to feel it. Maybe it's fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, but it's there. And your brain is saying, let's just be safe. But safety is not where your life expands. Your life expands to the degree that you're willing to feel. So here's an exercise for you. Start identifying the buffers that you have. And when I say buffers, it's what you are doing in replacement of feeling your feelings. So when you feel a negative emotion, is it going to food? Is it scrolling? Is it watching porn? Is it staying busy? And the next time that you feel the urge to go do those things, I want you to pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Name that emotion and remind yourself, I'm going to sit here with this emotion until it fades, until it moves through me. You can even tell yourself, I'm going to sit here with this emotion, present with it for 1 minute. That's it. And what that's going to do is you're going to give your brain evidence that you don't die, that you do actually have the capability to sit in discomfort. Because the more that you do that, the more that your brain believes you that you can handle anything that comes up on your path to becoming who it is that you want to be, or on the path to get any result that you want. And when your brain believes that, you can do anything. Now, let me remind you what's at stake if you don't learn the skill. If you aren't willing to feel, you're not going to follow through. And when you don't follow through, you don't become the person. And if you don't become the person, the results don't last. And of course, when I say you don't become the person, I am referring to your identity. So emotional capacity, it's not just a skill, it is the skill. And if you're ready to actually build this skill, I want to invite you to come into either one of my programs, because this is the work that I am passionate about. This is the work that I'm teaching. So if you're ready for that, I would love to support you. You can check out the links in the show notes. I will see you in the next episode, where we are going to go deeper and wider on the subjects of identity change, emotional capacity, managing your mind, and living the for good life. And if you haven't yet, you should definitely check out these videos next. I will see you next week. Bye-bye now.